Well, what's up guys? My name is Jack Wright, also known as JackpotButtonLewis on YouTube here, and welcome to another late night edition, may I add also, of the spin-off series of, once again, my new World Cup football vlog series of Football's Come Home for Christmas, of Football's Come Home for Christmas post-match late edition. Of course, I know this was totally unplanned and completely out of the blue to do, but because of the time that it is now, it's just gone 11 o'clock over here, and of course in England where I live, and I know that I've just been very busy over the last few hours, and I've only just managed to do this now. It's not like I'm lastminute.com, but honestly, so much has been happening. And also as well, the reason why that I'm here a little bit more later is because of the incredible football matches that happened earlier on today, as we go into the from the official end of the first week of this year's FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, and we're almost done with week one, not just week one but also week two for that matter as well. And honestly, tonight has just been incredible with some of the games that I saw earlier on today. But we're also quickly, alongside of course the whole reason why I'm doing this as well, is quickly reviewing the quite shock result quite recently once again of England when they played the United States earlier on last week. And once again also today, when it comes to midnight and going into the next few hours, it will be the third and final game day and group stage match for once again England taking on their old friends west of the border of Wales for their last chance to try and get some well-earned points to hopefully qualify for the round of 16 and for of course the next stage of this year's FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. And once again, we have got a lot to get through, and I know time is, of course, once again quite late at night, and I understand that my sister has just gone to bed. She will be joining me, of course, tomorrow for, of course, being by my side, and also my dad's about to go to sleep as well because he's got work in the morning as well, and also my mum, Samantha, also is going to be falling asleep soon as well. So, and of course, I do have the tendency to get quite loud, even when it's really quiet, and but I have been told and reprimanded to being reminded of trying to be as quiet as possible. But I'm not going to try and whisper too much, but I know you can hear me. I'm just lowering my voice slightly so you can hear me. But anyway, let's of course, before we get on to the main, of course, stories, not just reviewing that unfortunate and quite, well, as much as I did say it was quite a poor performance from England, it was quite the first big challenge for England against the United States in their second group game earlier on last week, of course, once again against the United States at the Avid Stadium. And of course it's the result certainly none of us predicted, but honestly, as I said, we've got that to cover. We're also going to have an exclusive of course interview, a pre-match interview for once again the manager of England, Gareth Southgate, alongside with the vice captain and midfielder in the England team of Jordan Henderson as well. Excuse me, I just had to clear my throat. And also we will look into, as well as that, also we've got a few other stories that have just been happening quite recently surrounding this year's FIFA World Cup. And also quickly on the topic as well, like I mentioned, of course, this in the last episode of Football's Come Home for Christmas post-match, I also would like to say a huge congratulations to also Jill Scott, who, of course, if you may remember, just retired earlier on from playing for the women's England football team, the Lionesses, and also played once again in the final of this year's FIFA, sorry, not FIFA, UEFA, I was meant to say, Women's European Football Championship the final, the 2022, and she got the chance to hold the trophy. Of course, one of them, all of the players that played, all the 26 women that played in that team. And just yesterday, once again, she also, I'd like to say a massive congratulations for her for also being Queen of the Jungle in this year's series that just finished yesterday of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And if you're seeing, of course, a little photo of just appear on screen, there she is, of course, with her crown and sceptre, and also on the wooden throne alongside the presenters Anthony McPartlin and Declan Donnelly, also formerly known, well, not just formerly, but also still known as their, of course, their shorter versions of their names of Ant and Dec, and she was a well-deserved winner in my opinion. If you did actually see her, if you have been following her, of course, even though this has nothing to do with the World Cup, but there was a few little references of this year's FIFA World Cup mentioned throughout the series. She was amazing and a well-deserved winner. I mean, it's quite amazing that she's not just become a European football champion, women's football champion for that matter, and now, of course, for her to be Queen in the Jungle as well is just incredible. And I want to say that I also voted for her as well, and I couldn't be any more happier for her to win it. And congratulations, Jill. I'm so happy for you, and from everyone here, from of course the production team of Football's Come Home for Christmas and Football's Come Home for Christmas post-match, with of course today also being the late edition episode, just as a one-off since the time it is now and I'm recording this message to you. Congratulations, and I hope that you celebrate in style just as the same as you did when you won the your Women's European Football Championship final earlier on this summer, Jill. Well done and congratulations from us all. But anyway, going off topic there, of course, from nothing to do with what we're talking about in this edition of, once again, this late edition, of course, or episode of Football's Come Home for Christmas post-match. Let's quickly talk about the kind of quite unfortunate result for England just a few days ago, last week, when they drew once again to the United States of America. And I know I haven't got many newspapers, but this one just came just a few days ago on Saturday, the 26th of November. And it reads the headline, which I thought is incredible to see, alongside with a picture of the late amazing Her Majesty, Royal Majesty Queen not Queen Victoria, sorry, my apologies, Queen Elizabeth II, I mean. And of course it says on the front page, on the headline on the Daily Mail, it says, "Now for the Battle of Britain, England's World Cup flop sets a crunch clash against Wales." And from Sam Greenhill in Doha, who was one of the sports correspondents there in the capital of Qatar, has said England are facing a historical Battle of Britain match against Wales on Tuesday, which is, of course, tomorrow, after last night's dismal draw against the USA. The Three Lions were booed by their fans at the Obate Stadium as the final whistle blew for 0-0. Cheered on by millions who left work early to watch, Captain Harry Kane and his team were favourites after their 6-2 demolition of Iran on Monday. But in a temporary sourcing of the special relationship, the Americans made them sweat in a nerve-shredding match, and they even had the better of the chances before Harry Kane missed a glit-edge late chance in injury time to win it, planting an injury time header wide. And as we quickly go on to page 2, as this article continues on, it says also, however, England have every chance of getting to the knockout stages of the tournament and would have to lose to Wales by 4 goals to be eliminated from the tournament. Wives, girlfriends and children of the players, many wearing replica football kits and face paint, looked anxious during the match. Above them in the Qatar stadium, David Beckham, one of the ambassadors for this year's FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, also cheered from a VIP box, and manager Gareth Southgate has pledged to lift the nation's gloom with World Cup excitement and to bring some real happiness to Britons going through difficult times. Ahead of kickoff, Kane and his men belted out "God Save the King" before taking the knee, and they were held at bay for a goalless first half. And it started so well when Kane came close with a spectacular chance in the 9th minute, and then the Americans nearly scored in the 25th minute, and fans were left dreaming of a breakthrough as both sides missed chances, but it was the USA that narrowly had the best of the first half. Amongst the worried wags, Eric Dyer's girlfriend Anna Modula was holding her head in her hands as the USA threatened, and England did better in the second half, but there were still no goals after 90 minutes plus 4 minutes of injury time. And an electrician from Worcester, and his name is Jamie Tummy here, that's spelled Tummey, similar to like another name for your abdomen, where your stomach is. 31 years old, electrician from Worcester, like I said already. His name is OK. Now it's squeaky bum time against Wales. I knew this would be a much tighter game than the Iran one. Before the match I was predicting 2-1 to England. And also another England fan of Riva Daybess, I think, at age 29, an expert lawyer. I think that's a misprint there in the newspaper here I'm reading here. An expert lawyer in Qatar said it was a shame we didn't win, but tonight was a one-off. We will still come back stronger against Wales and still win the group and the World Cup, I'm sure. Come on, England. It's nice to see her optimism has just been dropped slightly, but she's still remaining very, very confident. And also to quickly have a look on the front first page on the headline saying here, and it says, "Bring on St. George versus the Dragon. Was that Iran triumph just a cruel mirage in the desert?" And that's kind of interesting to hear that. And as we just had a few pictures there of a few England fans also wearing the occasional burqa there, and also there was an American fan also wearing an American Stars and Stripes styled top hat. And also 2 female England fans wearing the home and away shirts of red and white with 2 St. George cross flags waving as well. That's what we saw there as well. And also there was a picture, if you did see it, also we had some shots also of fans who were at Box Park in Croydon once again, which with that place is very popular for as a sports bar in London, where it's covering all of the matches during England's campaign at this year's World Cup. There it is. So that's what we've just seen here, and also on the back page of once again of the Daily Mail, it has a anxious looking Mason Mount, who played in the England team a few nights ago, and of course he's seen there nearly biting his fingers, and it comes with this the interesting suspenseful headline saying "Fright Night, England scarily poor in USA stalemate." And Sammy Mockbell, another of the sports reporters from the Daily Mail, did say here, "England were brought back down to earth with a familiar bump last night from a few days ago here," since this is a few days after that. After a listless and goalless draw with the United States at the Avid Stadium. The nation was buzzing after the 6-2 romp against Iran, but Gareth Southgate's men lacked any spark or imagination against the Americans, who they have never beaten in the World Cup beforehand. That's I was going to say that. I think I misread that there. And England may still require a point against Wales tomorrow to be sure of a place in the last 16 and the knockout round. And Captain Harry Kane said, "It was not our best display. We didn't have the final product, but we were in control of the group." And Wales' hopes were left hanging by a thread after their shock 2-0 defeat earlier on last week against Iran, and Gareth Bale's side was outplayed in the second half and lost out to 2 late goals in injury time. And it also shows a picture also, if you did see there just at the bottom there, of the captain for the Welsh football team of Gareth Bale, who's been back with the team quite recently. after having a few years out of the squad. But it's good to see him back playing. And he was responsible, I think, for taking Wales to their first World Cup since 1958, and of course it's great to see them back in the FIFA World Cup. But they have had quite the surprise performance over the last two games. Like I said, once again they drew once again to the United States. Was their first game in a nail-biting 1-1 draw, and then they also just lost recently, like I said, to Iran, losing 2-0 in injury time at the end of the second half. But also it says here at the back of as also the by Martin Samuel, chief sports writer at the Abate Stadium for the Daily Mail, saying that with the headline "Crashing down to earth with a bump after hitting Iran for 6, England fall flat against the US." And of course there's also got a few pictures here. Also an unusual challenge here, of course, with I think that was one of the star players, Musa, there of the United States, putting his legs around Jude Bellingham, and I thought that was a very awkward thing to do, which I remember commentating on a few days ago. And there's also a very, very painful looking expression on Gareth Southgate, of course, with his right hand over his face, being very, very, of course, well, I wouldn't say frustrated, but he definitely looked a little bit flustered in what to do with his team following that result. But despite all that, like I mentioned, of course, earlier on in my last episode when I reviewed this game, it could have been a lot worse. And honestly, as I said, it was. I had a bit of a smattering that England could have managed to try and get something out of that game, and they nearly did. It was very unfortunate to see how England played against the United States, but they did hold on quite well, and they nearly got a last-minute winning goal, and it was such a shame for England. But there is still quite a bit of hope, though, as we go, of course, ahead to talking about their next game against, once again, the other home nation in this year's FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022, of Wales, who are they going to be playing once again from tomorrow evening, once again. And that's also going to be at the, to also clarify, that they will be playing alongside the same as the United States will against Iran tomorrow, and they'll be playing at the and this is going to be a new stadium that they're going to be playing at, of the Ahmad bin Ali Stadium in Arayan. And while also the United States once again will be playing against Iran, and they will also be playing at, once again, the in the capital of Doha at the Al Famama Stadium. And both BBC Sports and of course I think BBC One and BBC Two are covering both those matches tomorrow. And as well as that, also the last two games in Group A of the Netherlands take on Qatar, and also Ecuador take on Senegal. So I have a feeling whoever wins those two games, they will decide who will play once again England. As long as they can win against Wales tomorrow by either a win or draw, we, of course, they will either be, it's looking more likely it could be either Ecuador or the Netherlands. And Ecuador, according to the stats here from FIFA on my FIFA app, that they are the more easier team to play than the Netherlands. I mean, because the last time that they the Netherlands played England was in their I think the second time that they oh no, sorry, it was the first inaugural season of the newly made of course new European football tournament of the UEFA Nations League, and they lost to them by, I think it was 3-1 in the finals and in the semi-finals, and giving away an own goal as well, which cost them a place in the final. But they did well though, England, and once again they beat Switzerland in the third place playoff, or the bronze final it was called, and they won on a penalty shootout, and that was following after their first penalty shootout win at a World Cup for the first time in history, and also the first one in 26 years since winning over Spain in their home tournament of Euro 96. But with all that, of course, slightly going off topic, that is a quick, brief review of what has been said quite recently about that last game that England had. And we can also quickly hear from a few of the England players following that, of course, unfortunate draw against the United States. We've got some interviews, once again, that are from some of the players of Mason Mount, also Declan Rice, Jack Grealish, and also from Gareth Southgate himself, and even the captain, Harry Kane. And if you, of course, are going to be seeing any still images from these interviews, we managed to get the sound, but to avoid copyright, we can only use still images for these interviews when we show you them just right now. So let's hear from all of those players. And we also had a little word. We're also going to hear back from Gareth Southgate very, very soon, later on in this programme, once again, with Jordan Henderson, the vice-captain and one of the midfielders for England, as we have preview also England's third and final group stage game of Group B in this year's FIFA World Cup against Wales. But let's, once again, here is, of course, most of the England players and also Gareth Southgate on what they had to say about the unfortunate 1-0 goalless draw against the United States just a few days ago, as once again for their second match of this year's FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022.
Top of your group, you're in a really good position to qualify, but your face might say more than anything else.
No, I think, like you said, we're in a good position. We played a team today that I think are very underrated, have good players all over the pitch, a lot of energy. So we knew it was going to be tough. But like you said, we're in a good position to qualify, especially, when you look back to what happened at the Euros, it was the exact same situation. We won the first game, drew the second, and then, hopefully now we go into the last game wanting another win.
How tough was it out there? Because in a defensive sense, which is where the question marks have been, England really held strong under a lot of considerable pressure from a young attack in America, which you were all briefed about, but just not the cutting edge finish that you were looking for. Yeah,
I think in the final third we maybe lacked a little bit, lacked a bit of quality at times, but like I said, we knew it was going to be a tough game. They have good players up front, Christian especially, so we knew that they were going to cause us problems, but yeah, on a personal note, obviously, we've just got to look forward now to the last game, and no matter if we won, drew or lost tonight, we was always going into the last game with the intention to win, so we'll be doing that again.
A lot of clamour, much as they've been to get you on, was then to get Phil Foden on. Is he fit as far as you're aware?
Phil? Yeah, he's fit, yeah. Yeah, obviously, it's up to the manager. He watches us every day in training. I'm sure, I think we all know how good Phil is, so I'm sure he'll get a lot of chances. And yeah, Phil just has to keep training the way he is, and I'm sure he'll get his chances.
It certainly feels like it was a hard point gained.
Yeah, definitely. We come into this game knowing that England-USA is going to be a massive fixture, a tough fixture. They're a really strong athletic team. Anyone that thought that it was going to be an easy game, I think you see tonight that it wasn't. Caused us some problems, but I feel like not scoring one of them big chances we had in the first half kind of killed us a little bit. But look, it's a point, and it still puts us in the driving seat.
It looked hard in the engine room, if you like, at times for you. What was the difficulty?
I think just the way they moved around. They had a fluid midfield which pulled you out of areas that you're not usually used to. It's one of them ones in game. You've got to coach it and you've got to learn what they're doing. I don't really think it's a bad performance at all. I don't know what people are saying, but look, a point against them. Obviously, we want to win the game. Other than them hitting the bar, I don't really remember them, other than a few corners in the second half as well, putting us under too much pressure. It's just about breaking that line a bit more and creating a bit more chances.
What can you say about your two centre-halves? The manager's been very praising of them in terms of the way they, if you like, initiated the play throughout the match, as well as the defending. So was this a night to sing the praises then of John Stones, Harry Maguire?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're two technically unbelievable footballers. They both can control the game from back there, really good at sucking the forward into you and then popping it off. And again, very good blocks, good headers from inside the box. So them two were solid all night. I think it was really important to get a clean sheet as well.
Physically, how are you? How are the team? Because these tight turnarounds are going to take it out of players.
Yeah, it's good. Look, it's only like playing club football. It's only like playing the Premier League and then playing in Europe. Obviously, it's a quicker process because it's a tournament, but we've been doing everything we can recovery-wise and maximising that. And, we have another tough one next in the group, so we need to stay positive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Harry, it wasn't the win you wanted. How do you sum up the performance?
Yeah, it wasn't our best performance for sure. Had some good spells with the ball, created some good positions. Just didn't quite have the final product today, And great clean sheet puts us in a great position in the group.
What was missing in terms of the attack?
Yeah, just being clinical. I think the complete contrast to the other game against Iran. We took our chances really well. Today we had, 2 or 3 good opportunities and we didn't quite put it away. So. But look, overall, we're playing a tough team and we move on.
Yeah, how much of tonight also was down to the United States press?
Yeah, no, they pressed really well. We knew before the game that they would come out and make it difficult for us. And I thought at times we dealt with it well, but, they're a good side and you have to respect them. And, look, a draw at the end of the world for us. It puts us in a great position in the group. And, we look forward to the next one.
It is one of the key things maybe tonight. You didn't play well, you didn't lose.
Yeah, absolutely, we know we can play better than that for sure. But look, it's a draw in a World Cup. No game's easy in the World Cup. I think, after our first performance, people thought we was just going to, landslide every team we play, but it's not the case, We're playing against a really organised team with some quality players, and we have to respect that. So, but the clean sheet's really pleasing. Like I say, a point's not what we came here for, but like I say, it leaves us in a really good position.
Thanks, Harry.
Cheers, thank you.
That looked like a hard night's work, but a point gained.
It was a tough game. We knew coming into it wasn't going to be easy. We tried to play our stuff. They have a very physical midfield and a team where they can play, and they have good individual players. So it wasn't easy throughout the whole game, but we stuck with it. Point gained in the big picture. It's always tough to win every single group game. We want to win, of course, every game, but now the focus goes to that last game when we're still in a good position.
It was such flow to England in the first game. Maybe it's a bit much to expect it to be as good in the second game, but what do you think was missing, especially at times offensively?
Yeah, they made it tough. They ran a lot. We tried to play our stuff, maybe a little bit lack of technical ability in the final third, in that final pass or shot to create a chance, but we still, it's a clean sheet. We look at the positives. We didn't manage to keep a clean sheet in that first game, although we scored 6 goals. So it's things we need to work on. But as I said, we're still in a positive position, and we still got to win that last game.
When a game's going like that, is there a degree of having to dig in?
Yeah, of course, and that's the same with every game. We knew, as I said, coming into it wasn't going to be easy with their players. We dug in, we defended our box, defended some corners. We had some question marks about us at the back, and I think we come through it today.
It seemed to be a night for Harry Maguire's head at times.
Yeah, he was heading it everywhere, putting the body on the line, and that's what we want to do every single game. So we got through it. As I said, there's question marks, and defensively we stuck strong as a team.
What about those who say it's a reality check now, this, for England? They took us so high in the first game, but this is a reality check.
As I said before, you look at the big picture, and not many teams win every single game in the group. The most important thing is to get through, and if we win that last game, we're at the top. So that's the big focus now.
Thanks, mate. Harry, how do you sum up the performance?
Wasn't at our best, but in the end, I think it's a point. It puts us in a strong position in the group. World Cup games are never easy, and we know coming into the game they're a good team. We've watched lots of them in previous matches, and they're a good team. They play at a big tempo, and we had to work hard out there, and we could have maybe nicked it in the end. I mean, they had a couple of chances, but we could have been a little bit more clinical with our chances, and we'd probably won the game. But no, there were some positive parts, and we'll take the positive parts, but also we'll work on the parts that we need to improve on.
What was missing offensively, having been so good 4 days ago?
Yeah, I think, like I said, these World Cup games are tough. I think you've seen with the group games, they're all top teams who play in this World Cup, so it's tough out there. They're a good team, and we just wasn't clinical. We wasn't as ruthless enough in the final third. We didn't execute the final pass well enough. But we know that we have good forwards in this team, so I'm sure next game they'll do it. Was there an element as well in this game of just ensuring we don't lose? We hold firm to a degree. Yeah, I think big credit to the lads, because they put us under pressure, especially at the start of the second half, and we dug in and we got the clean sheet. So, no, of course, we knew the position in the group. We knew that we stay in control of the group, 4 points from 2 games. Of course, we wanted to win the game tonight and see the job through, but no, we're looking forward to the next game against Wales now. Thanks, Harry. Thank you. Thanks, Harry.
Gareth, how do you sum up tonight?
Exactly the sort of game I thought it would be. Really tough, a good opponent who very, very athletic. I knew it would be difficult for us after such a high to then replicate that type of performance. So I'm really pleased with how the players have applied themselves. I think some of our quality in the final third could have been a little bit better, but we've shown great resilience to defend against an opponent that kept asking questions, and really we've controlled the game well from the back and just not been able to open up with that really clear-cut chance.
What was missing in terms of that offensive approach? Was it also a physical thing tonight?
Yeah, I think a little bit of zip. We didn't quite have that same zip, but that's going to happen. This is tournament football. We're not going to roll through a tournament and sweep through everybody without having nights like that where you've got to show different qualities to get the result.
On a night when you need some offensive zip, why was there no place for Phil Foden?
Well, I thought it was the right thing to keep the team from the start, and then the wide players, we went with Jack and Marcus ahead of Phil on the changes. We thought Jack would keep the ball well for us and get us up the pitch, and Marcus's speed we thought would also be a threat coming into that last part of the game.
What needs to improve then? Clearly 3 points needs to be gained against Wales, so what needs to be better?
Well, it will be a totally different game. Today we're playing a team that make it really difficult. I'm so pleased with the way we built from the back, because they make it really difficult to build, and we've had real problems with that in the past, and our 2 centre-backs with the ball were absolutely outstanding. They control the game. I don't think people appreciate how good they are, and they both defended their box brilliantly.
So this is a point gained, not a missed opportunity?
Yeah, for me, I think silver medal today was a point, because it puts us in a really strong position in terms of qualification. If we can win our last game, then we win the group, and the objective is to get out the group. You've got 3 games to do it. We've done it in 2 games in the last 2 tournaments. It's very unrealistic to expect that every time.
And how's Harry Kane? Because I know he's obviously done the distance tonight, but he obviously had that foot issue.
Yeah, I mean, I've not been able to assess any of the players post-game, but he's obviously got through the game fine, and his link play and his hold-up play was very important for us.
Thank you, Gareth.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Well, that was certainly not the comment I was expecting there from Gareth. It's very quite interesting, still amazingly to see that he's still very, very confident going into the final game once again. Of course, tomorrow, once again against Wales. Once again, to clarify, that England need once again, even though they are top of the group right now of Group B at the moment, if you are seeing a graphic on the screen right now, they are currently on 4 points at the moment, with once again Iran in second. Just with a point behind them, but they have got a massive goal difference of 4 at the moment, and honestly that couldn't be a more comfortable cushion and advantage for England. So even though expecting the worst case scenario, if England once again do lose to Wales tomorrow, of course they need to lose by 4 goals to once again go out of this tournament. But obviously that is of course me being very, very pessimistic, and I'm sure that won't happen. But all England need to do, I have a feeling that some of the players, and they used the exact same formation and also starting 11 that played in the Iran game from just 2 weeks ago. But I think it's time for definitely to have some changes in the England squad. And most importantly, I have heard that there's been a load of talk quite recently why Phil Foden wasn't picked to play in, of course, that game, as he's been doing pretty well in training, and also he's been playing very well recently at Man City alongside his teammate of Jack Grealish. He did play pretty well also. He came on as a sub, but also I've been hearing even my dad John has even had an opinion that he should have actually played starting on the pitch than just coming on as a sub. And but it's been very, very interesting to hear not just my dad's opinion, but also I've heard loads of other opinions of England fans as well. And obviously there's been loads of talk about that quite recently, because also we can also have another little video exclusively from Beanie Man Sport of some very popular faces from the world of England football, as they got and of course they talked to the website on what they had to say and their opinions on how England played once again against the United States from just a few days ago, once again failing to beat them by once again a goalless draw.
I was a bit disappointed, if I'm honest, that it was in Qatar, but we've had 12 years, we've known about it for 12 years, and for some of the decisions that have been made in the last minute, I just think it's a bit of a lack of organisation. FIFA need to take quite a bit of the blame as well, but it's the World Cup. And now it's on. Let's start enjoying the football and enjoying the World Cup for what it is. It's a shame it's not for everybody to watch, or not that everybody can watch it, but now it's on, let's enjoy it. And this is brilliant because I've been and played in these World Cups and I know what it's like. You shut away from everybody. And now to come and watch it as a fan is really brilliant. And I love it. I love all the atmosphere that builds up. I love the fact that you see all the cars with their flags out. Even I have a flag on my car, so I'm an England fan now, and I love being an England fan.
There's nowhere else I'd rather be. I came here for this atmosphere, for these people to proudly fly the Stars and Stripes. This is what it's all about. This is what the World Cup's all about. Go USA, baby. Let's go.
And what do you think of this atmosphere?
This atmosphere is incredible. So we came all the way here from Washington, D.C. We were in Cardiff on Monday for the Wales-USA game. We're here in London for USA-England. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. We came here for this reason and nothing else. We're still going.
Can I quickly get your reaction to the game?
I thought it was a bit underwhelming. Not a lot was cracking off, was there?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Grealish should have been on earlier. Make some substitutions earlier, Gareth. I feel like he was very happy to settle for a point there, and he should have gone for it.
And how are you feeling? Do you think the atmosphere's changed? Do you feel a bit disappointed?
I feel like everyone's a little bit mellow, but a few more bets and it'll pick back up.
I think so. I feel like, after euphoria a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was last week, a little bit down, but Wales lost, so it doesn't matter. It's fine. Right? That's what we really care about. Yeah. Yeah, we'll beat Wales last game. Easy. I've heard it's coming home. I don't know.
I think it's coming.
I've heard rumours it's coming home. So.
Well, I think think that some people are still remaining kind of still optimistic, even though I know it's the title of my programme, everybody, Football's Come Home for Christmas. But at least some people did still saying that they're still hopeful that England can bring home the World Cup this year. Once again, I know, of course, we're only 2 games down in the group stage, and there's once again 1 more to go against Wales tomorrow. But of course, once again, like I've said already, to clarify, as we have, I could quickly also give you a little reminder of some of the other games that happened earlier on today, and also for the last few days as well. As it stands with the Netherlands, they're currently leading Group A, and they're tied on with Ecuador and also Senegal at the moment. There's very little in it between them, and that's of course on goals for each of them. But they are, once again, Netherlands and Ecuador are tied on 4 points each, and Senegal are in third with 3, and sadly once again Qatar, the host nation, after losing 2 of their matches from earlier on last week, they are now sadly out of this year's World Cup. But we had some incredible games earlier on today, and also from yesterday, which I unbelievably did actually see, and some of the games that I saw yesterday were just unbelievable. Once again, continuing with the trend of possible upsets at this year's World Cup. Costa Rica unbelievably beat Japan 1-0 2 days ago in Group E, and with just 1 goal in the, I think that was in the 81st minute by Kay Fuller. And then there was an incredible early goal from Canada, but then they got absolutely destroyed in the second half against Croatia and won 4-1. With goals once again coming from Kramic, Livija, and also Major, and in the added 4th minute of the end of the second half. And that's crazy, yeah. Davies, who got the goal for Canada, that he actually got it in the 2nd minute. I mean, I've never seen that. I think that's the quickest goal so far in this year's FIFA World Cup at the moment. And also on the topic of that, also talking about quick goals, we completely forgot to talk about this in the first episode of Football's Come Home for Christmas. Also, the 3rd quickest goal by a substitute in World Cup history was 49 seconds, and that was set by Marcus Rashford when he came on in the Islamic Republic of Iran game. And for him to score his first goal at the FIFA World Cup to add to his penalty that he scored against Colombia in the last World Cup in Russia 2018 is a great result for him as well, that included. But once again, we also had another incredible nail-biting draw, and I initially thought they could have gone straight out following a lose once again to Japan from last week. And that is, of course, Germany managed to equalise in the last 10 minutes of the game against Spain, and they held on to a narrow, once again, 1-1 draw. And of course, the goal coming from, I think it was Nicholas Füllkrug, one of the substitute players for Germany. He managed to give a lifeline to Germany to save them from going out of the tournament. So, but of course, once again, they still need, as it stands, they're not playing today, but they will be playing, I think, not until the 1st of December. They will still need to have a. They still need to beat Costa Rica, and the game against Japan and Spain will be quite interesting. For of course later on this week on Thursday, the 1st of December. That match will be incredible to watch, and honestly, as I said, we've only just started with the and we're about halfway through week 2 of this year's FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, and we've got some more incredible matches. Once again, as I said, we have got the 2 games of Ecuador and Senegal that are going to be playing in Group A from 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and that will take place at the Khalifa International Stadium. And at the very same time, Qatar, the host nation, will play their final game against the Netherlands at the Al Bayt Stadium. And once again, of course, the Islamic Republic of Iran will be playing against the United States at the Al Famama Stadium. And the last time that these two countries last faced each other was back in the 1998 FIFA World Cup. And also on the topic of that, that was also the last time where also Morocco also were in the FIFA World Cup, and they had an incredible game, beating the tournament favourites, another massive upset of course, beating the team that knocked us out, or of course we lost to in the last World Cup, not just once but twice, of Belgium. And they were the goals coming from Saziz and also Aboukal in the 92nd minute in injury time in the second half. And that was a huge result for Morocco in Group F. And as it stands at the moment, with of course that win, they stand currently in second in, of course, in the group, tied on 4 points with Croatia. And Belgium, one of the tournament favourites to do well so far in this tournament, are in third at the moment with 3 points and goal difference of 3 for Croatia, 2 for Morocco, and also -1 to Belgium. And honestly, it is just incredible. This has been the most unpredictable FIFA World Cup that I have ever seen in the whole of my life, honestly. And I know that as much as I know that, of course, I want to just focus on the England games. Obviously, I have been so intrigued to see all the other results in, of course, the other groups of this tournament. And honestly, we have seen some remarkable games, especially even from earlier on, of course, today, with Cameroon coming back from a few goals down, even though they led initially over Serbia. But the final result, despite falling behind from 2 goals at half-time, they managed to come back with, of course, a equaliser in the last few minutes. Oh no, my apologies. No, Choupo Moting was the name of the Cameroonian player that scored in the 66th minute, and he was responsible for securing that vital draw for, once again, Cameroon. And they currently are in third place at the moment, and they got a vital point to try and stay in contention in Group G. But Brazil, unbelievably, they comfortably, or narrowly beat, my apologies, of course, Casemiro was the person who only scored the only goal for Brazil for them to secure qualification, a game in hand in the knockout round of 16. Casemiro in the 83rd minute was responsible for scoring the only goal against Switzerland. And as of currently, Switzerland are 3 points behind, and they're in second at the moment. But they have been playing really well, Switzerland, at the moment. They have been underrated. There are underdogs in their group, and they've done pretty well so far in this year's tournament. But also another incredible result also for one of the other African nations in this year's World Cup. Once again, Ghana came back from, of course, 2 goals coming from Cho of South Korea. And Kudus came with a goal in the 34th minute in the first half, and then managed to get that all-important winning goal, the 3rd goal, in the 68th minute to get that result once again over South Korea. And that was amazing to see. And honestly, there's been so much going on here. And also a vital win once again for Portugal that has secured qualification as well. A remarkable win since, once again, Uruguay were responsible for knocking them out of the last World Cup. Portugal once again won 2-0 earlier on this evening, with goals coming from Bruno Fernandes in the 54th minute, and also a penalty in the 3rd additional minute of the end of the second half. And they're in very good in a very good place at the moment once again. They are currently topping Group H with 6 points, and they're currently on goal difference of 3 at the moment. I mean, it is just amazing to see them back on winning form at the moment. And honestly, I could go on and on and on here. I mean, as I said, as much as I know that I haven't actually seen many of the other games of this tournament, once again, to focus on, since I've want to focus on the England games. But I think it's quite important to look into these now, because once again, if England do get a very promising result, which I'm sure they will over Wales, hopefully they'll still go in, of course, with that game in hand, and that they're wanting to try and get a repeat of their game that they had earlier on against Iran in this tournament. But there is going to be many changes from what I've heard from Gareth Southgate, and he is planning to make a few changes and rest some of the players. I've heard Harry Kane could possibly be rested for tomorrow's game, and someone else could replace him. And I have a feeling, I think Jordan Henderson could stand in, being because he's also vice captain for England in the England team. And that's also that would be good to see him there for his first time taking over from Harry Kane, because he has been once again, I wouldn't say hit and miss, but I mean, you know, obviously he's just been trying to you know, he hasn't had the luck on his side quite recently, but he nearly scored a near miss header, which did of course near miss once again in the last few minutes of the United States game. But it'll be very interesting to see who will play tomorrow, and of course we're really looking forward to that game. And as I've said already, it's going to be definitely a must-watch. And once again, Wales need a very important winning result. It feels like they want to try and do the impossible, but don't write them off. I mean, you know, that even though that they have, of course, once again drawn 1 game so far and also lost 1, they are still could still cause a bit of an upset. And this is actually unbelievably, according to from what I've also quickly on here, as we review, of course, and go straight on talking about, of course, previewing tomorrow's final and third group stage game for England in, of course, this year's FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. There's been loads of talk quite recently, according to the Guardian newspaper, that the captain of the Welsh football team, of Gareth Bale, has said there's no reason Wales can't spring a World Cup shock against England, and the Welsh football manager, national football team manager of Rob Page, their side need to beat England to stay in the tournament. And they're saying that we're all getting a bit of criticism right now, and rightly so. And it says here quickly from Ben Fisher in Doha, the capital of Qatar. He says here that from earlier on today, the dragon on my shirt, that is all I need, Gareth Bale said, looking down at the Wales crest on his red polo shirt, swaying on a swivel chair in Dinard in a little abandon before their quarter-final victory over Belgium at the Euro 2016 tournament. That statement feels as though that it will soon be put to the test. And of course, as the sun set in Doha earlier on today, morphing into the marshmallow skies, Bale was again holding court, repeatedly checking his watch as the questions followed in the press conference and also flowed. And he said it was only a matter of time before he was asked whether Wales' game against England tomorrow could be his last for his country, and he said no. He snapped back on it, arms folded, interesting, and he said, well, that's that for now at least. And not all of the other questions were so predictable for him to ask, and among them was, how was the rack of Welsh lamb? And on Sunday, the celebrity chef Brian Williams brought Welsh cakes and cooked dinner for mint sauce and caper dressing at the team hotel in West Bay, once again Qatar. Hopefully it gives us a better performance. We would love nothing more, said Bale with a spoonful of perspective. And he said also, he added, we are trying to keep our spirits high. We have to remember we are at a World Cup for the first time in a long time. We would rather be at a World Cup maybe not doing amazingly well than sat at home on the sofa not doing anything. We are happy to be there, and we are going to give it everything we can try to qualify. We're going to give it everything we can to try and qualify. My apologies, I think I said that wrong there. And yeah, as I said, it goes on a little bit more to This is once again the first major football tournament that Gareth Bale has returned to captaining once again the Welsh team. Once again, he also plays on club level once again for Real Madrid, that have been playing pretty well also in the recent season. And he's also once again the world's most expensive football in the whole of international football as well. And he says also that, continuing on with this article, I can just add one additional thing there that he says. He knows that England are not infallible. Everyone has weaknesses, the Wales captain said. We have done our homework, we've had meetings, and I'm sure they've done the same with us. England are a very good team. They are one of the favourites to win the tournament in the top 4, as according to 888betting.com. And they are under no illusions that it will be hard. There has been a few shocks in the tournament already, and there's no reason why we can't do the same. Well, that is a very, very strong statement to say, and that is also a very brave statement to also say there as well, because you never know. With, of course, this World Cup, of course, it has been unpredictable like no other. And honestly, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. And of course, we'll have live once again coverage of that match. Of course, tomorrow, once again from the to once again clarify at the Avid bin Ali Stadium. I think, is that how it's said? My apologies. Oh, here we go. The Ahmad bin Ali Stadium. Sorry there, I mispronounced it there. But honestly, and it's going to be very, very exciting. Once again, coverage starts, and it's going to be broadcasted by BBC Sport, and also it's going to be live from 6 o'clock, and once again, the match kicks off at 7. And once again, we will be live, of course, once again, from, of course, the bottom, from downstairs in the living room of my house here in Littleport, of course, Ely, Cambridgeshire, East Cambridgeshire, England, United Kingdom, for, of course, all the upcoming... Oh, excuse me, my apologies, I just took a drink earlier on. With, of course, that game, and we'll also give you a little reminder of keeping up with the other games as well, as we look ahead to, once again, because if England can have another promising result, once again, if they can beat Wales comfortably, we will be finding out, hopefully, by the end of that game, on who will be facing in the next round of this year's FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Well, with also that being said, of course, we have covered quite a lot all about, once again, the upcoming match tomorrow, once again, of Wales against England, and also England's last game against the United States. But once again, also, since we look forward to that game tomorrow, once again, against Wales, the other home nation in this year's FIFA World Cup, we've also now got an exclusive interview, once again, from Gareth Southgate, once again, who's actually making a second appearance for the first time here in my series of Football's Come Home for Christmas post-match late edition, and he's also going to be joined by vice-captain of Jordan Henderson, and this was a press conference from earlier on today that they went to, and some vital questions were talked about them leading up to, of course, the last game for them in the group stages of this year's FIFA World Cup. And of course, we are going to now be joining them from, once again, from Qatar, and saying, and of course, hearing from some of the reporters, some, once again, not just from England, but also from Wales, coming from the TV channel of S4C, and also from Il Equipe newspaper in France, and also there was one coming from Brazil, from what I've been told by our production team. Yes, that is right, yes. I've just been clarified by that from, once again, our production team just behind the camera. So, yes, so without further ado, let's join once again back to Gareth Southgate and Jordan Henderson, midfielder and also vice-captain, and once again manager for the England team. Once again, that's clarifying Gareth Southgate. They, of course, as they talk about the upcoming final match against Wales, which starts from tomorrow, of, once again, their third and final group stage match in Group B of this year's FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022.
So, ladies and gentlemen, apologies for the slight delay, but nevertheless, a warm welcome to this official press conference, pre-match press conference with England this evening, ahead of their game against Wales tomorrow at 10 o'clock in Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. Delighted to welcome England coach Gareth Southgate to my left, and to his left, player Jordan Henderson, and at the far left, team media officer Andy Walker. Interpretation this evening is English and Arabic. Please raise your hand when we go to questions, and it would be helpful, please, if you could introduce yourself and your organisation and photographer colleagues. I'll ask after about 5 minutes if we can just put the cameras down after about 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, straight to questions at the front, please. Thank you.
Yes, Kaveh Salakal from Sky Sports News. Gareth, first of all, how do you approach a game that is not a must-win game for you, or do you consider it as a must-win game?
We want to win football matches. We have got to balance freshness with stability, so that's always the decision you're making when you're picking a team. And yeah, we've got a chance to win the group with a positive result. So there's a lot for both teams resting on the game. You know, there's no game where there isn't pressure on either team, and yeah, we want to really, our performance is the key. We have played well with the ball in our first game, scored a lot of goals. In the second game was tougher for us. We defended really well, and now we want to put both elements of the game together.
Thank you. Gentlemen, the third row there, please. Yep. Thank you.
سؤال باللغة العربية.
Just 1 second for the translation. Okay, thank you.
سؤال إلى هندرسون، سلام المدب من موقع العربي الجديد. سؤالي حول محمد صلاح، هل تحدثت معه هندرسون حول غيابه عن هذه البطولة؟ ما هي كانت ردة فعله؟ من شجعت في المباراة الفاصلة بين ماني وصلاح؟
No, I haven't spoken to Mo. To be honest, he'll be enjoying his holidays somewhere, I'm sure. But he'll be very disappointed that, of course, his team and he didn't get to come to the World Cup. You know, the best players in the world want to play in the World Cup, and he's certainly one of them. So he'll be very disappointed that him and his team hasn't made it here. And obviously for Sadio, it was a huge disappointment for him. I spoke to him, obviously, when I heard about his injury. Obviously, he was very disappointed he couldn't make it. I know what Sadio was like as a person, and if there was a small chance, he would have definitely give it a go. So it must be a pretty bad injury. But I hope he recovers well, and hopefully he gets another opportunity in the future.
Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Question for Gareth and for Jordan, Carrie Brown, being Sports. Gareth, you said ahead of the last match day -1 press conference that it would be a brave man to not name Harry Kane in the starting lineup. Lots of people suggesting he needs a rest. Does he need a rest, and what's your decision process on whether you do or do not start Harry Kane? He's obviously one of the first names on your team sheet. Is it that he wants to play every game and it's hard to stop him, the goal-scoring record, or simply that the criticism you might not get if he doesn't score a goal? And for Jordan Henderson, Jordan, your managers talked about Rudyard Kipling measuring the highs and the lows. Did the fans need to understand this is a tournament rather than a match-by-match process with the boos after the highs?
Yeah, that's what tournament football gives you. You know, we expect high things from ourselves. The fans expect big things from us as well with what we've done over the last few years. So that's just part and parcel of football, really. It's how you deal with it. It's going to be emotional. You're going to have different challenges in front of you, certainly in tournament football, and it's how you deal with them. And hopefully we can deal with them in the right way.
Harry, obviously we're going to pick a team that we believe can win the game. That's our priority always. He's fine in terms of the knock he had, which, even though we keep saying it's his foot, everybody keeps saying it's his ankle. But I don't quite know why that is, but it's his foot. So, but yeah, he's trained well. The whole group. There's only Ben White missing with illness. So we've got, to this point, with pretty much everybody available to select from, which is a great position for us to be in. It makes decisions difficult, of course, but you want a fully fit squad, and that's at the moment where we're at.
Thank you. Fourth row, please.
Hi, Laurie Roberts, S4C. Gareth, I'd like to ask you, England are probably clear favourites tomorrow. How do you deal with that pressure?
We're used to it, really. I think, obviously, in terms of rankings, that's the case, and you have to accept that responsibility going into games. And yeah, we're used to going into matches with that feeling. Simple as that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Second row, please.
Hi, Gareth. James Ollie from ESPN. There's been a lot made of the critical reaction by some of the fans at the end of the USA game. Sort of specifically, what is your message to those fans who are going to be in the stadium? Because it's going to be important that they stay with you in those difficult moments, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the thing in the stadium was, because when we went over to our fans, I thought they were really good at the end of the game. So, yeah, we know there'll be a lot of supporters of both countries there. It's going to be a cracking atmosphere. Our fans will be with us for sure. There's no question about that. So I think they know the journey this team's been on over the last two tournaments in particular. We're top of the group at the moment. Still a bit to do to qualify. But as I said earlier, if we can win this game, then we can win the group. And that was the first objective when we set out at the start of the tournament.
Thank you. Gentlemen, 2 rows behind, please. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Pierre from newspaper L'Équipe. A question for Gareth. What are, according to you, the main qualities of the Welsh team, and maybe the Welsh players that could potentially create problems to England, according to you?
Yeah, they obviously have some world-class players who can produce moments of brilliance and have done for a long time with their clubs, with their country. They have a good spirit, they have good organisation. So we know the quality of the Ukraine team they beat to get to these finals, and we know that they seem to have additional motivation to play against England, from what they're saying. So that we've got to be prepared for all of those things, but also we've got to focus on our own performance and playing well. That's the key.
Thank you. Last question with photographers, please.
Hi, Rob Phillips from BBC Wales. Question for Gareth. Rob Page said earlier that his side had been nowhere near where he felt they were capable of reaching so far in this tournament. Are you expecting any sort of backlash, given that they have to win to have any chance of surviving in this tournament?
They're a proud team with some very good players, so we would have always expect them to play well, and we're preparing for them in the same way we've prepared for the previous opponents. We'll have to wait and see what formation they play. There's obviously different possibilities from what they've done so far in this tournament, and they've got options to change that. So yeah, we're expecting a team that will give everything for the shirt.
Thank you. There's a hand over here. Yes, gentleman there.
Hi Gareth, Nizar Kinsella from the Evening Standard. I just wanted to ask you about Gareth Bale. How do you sort of set up to defend against him, and where do you sort of see his legacy in sort of British football?
Well, defending against him depends a little bit on which role he plays, of course, but you know that he is capable of those individual moments of brilliance in and around the penalty area from distance as well. Free kicks, of course, a great strength. So He's had a fantastic, or is having a fantastic career. Difficult to say where you pitch that, because I haven't followed it as closely, being an Englishman, as I'm sure the Welsh public have followed it. But clearly his club career and what he won with Real Madrid is phenomenal, really. So that in itself, but also major championships with Wales, the success they had in 2016, fantastic run to the semi-final. So he's had some remarkable experiences, and he's an outstanding player.
Thank you. Two to the left, please. Thank you.
Gareth, Jack Pitbrook from The Athletic. 4 years ago, for the third group game against Belgium, you made 8 changes so that you could play almost everybody who hadn't got a game yet. Assuming you're not going to do that tomorrow, do you face a bit of a challenge keeping the non-playing players happy?
That's always a challenge, and of course we've got 26 players, but we're at a major tournament and it's not about giving caps out. We're here to try to go as far as we possibly can. So we've got a brilliant group. They support each other. Of course, players will be disappointed if they're not playing. And when we have other camps throughout the year, we try to manage minutes and give people game time where we possibly can, because that builds the spirit. But you know, when you're in a World Cup, you can't just be thinking that way unless you'd already qualified and you've got a game that that allows a slightly different approach. So yeah, we're fortunate. We've got really good professionals who get on with that. I know it's tough because I've done it myself. I've been to a couple of tournaments where I hardly played any minutes at all. But you recognise in those moments that your job is to support the team, to train well, to support the guys that are playing, to be ready for your moment when it comes. And that's been a big part of our story in the previous 2 tournaments, where the squad have been ready and the squad have really supported each other well throughout.
Thank you. Gentleman right at the back, please. Just wait for the Arabic. Please go ahead.
Thank you. A question for both. Carl Roberts, BBC Wales. Gareth, you mentioned that you think some of the Wales squad might have extra motivation because they're playing England. Have some of the comments you've heard, for instance, Kiefer Moore said that he'd love to knock England out. Does that annoy you? Question for you both.
No, he's entitled to say whatever he wants leading into a game. So I'd be amazed if he hadn't, or if he didn't feel that way. And we've got to just focus on what we're about, preparing for the game in our normal way. We've got to bring our quality to the game and composure, and play with a tempo that makes our team really difficult to play against. So it's pointless us focusing on what's said before the game. We've got to go on the pitch and play well.
Yeah, for me, we don't need extra motivation. The motivation is to win games and do our stuff on the pitch, really. Do our talking on the pitch, perform well, focus on what we've got to do. So that's what we'll do.
Thank you. I can't see any more hands. Oh, yes, gentleman there, please.
Martin Herman from Reuters. Gareth, we're 8-9 days into the tournament and there's been 1 red card so far. I just wondered if you could comment on why you think that might be. Is the refereeing good? Have you seen any changes? Or is it just, I don't know, you tell me.
I haven't seen enough or studied enough of the refereeing performances to know why. Our game the other night, I thought the referee had a good tolerance level for challenges and allowed the game to flow. It was quite a physical game. So on another night, there could have been yellows both ways, but he didn't do that. I thought he managed the game really well. Am I allowed to say that, by the way? I'm never sure on the line of what we're allowed to say, so I'll probably shut up and leave it at that.
Any more hands? Going? Oh, yes, gentleman there. Just at the back, please. He's just coming. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hideo Tamaro from Kyoto News. Can I ask a question to Gareth? And can you kind of explain the rivalry between England and Wales? Because it's a little bit hard to understand from the outside, playing against the same nation in the UK.
Well, basically, they're here and we're right there. There's not a lot more I can say than that, really. It's it's like any two countries whose borders are next to each other. There's a competitive rivalry. For me, it's a great sporting rivalry. It's no more than that. That feeling might not be mutual, but I can understand that as well. I live in Yorkshire. They feel the same about the rest of England. So that's where we're at. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere in the stadium, and we're really looking forward to the game.
Thank you. Gentleman at the back, please. Just behind you, 2 rows. That's it. Thank you.
I'm Edson Viana from Brazil. Adding just a little bit more to this issue, don't you worry that that climate of rivalry could give extra, the game becomes a little more tough for the players and that go to the field and the climate become hot inside and you have more motivation for that?
Yeah, that's the key. With these sorts of games, we've got to focus on performance. We've got to play well. We've got to bring our quality to the table and give that the best opportunity we have of making the difference on the pitch. Of course, we've got to match all of the spirit and energy that our opponents will have, but I'd be disappointed if our team didn't do that every time they went on the pitch, really.
Thank you. Any more questions? Going. Gone. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, England.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck tomorrow.
Well, what a very thoughtful thing to say there with the last question there for Gareth Southgate, saying, of course, about, because since, once again, if you have not known, quite recently, even just from a few days beforehand, this was kind of a rivalry which never was to be expected, and the last time this kind of happened with, once again, when Wales and England last played against each other in a major tournament was all the way back in Euro 2016, and it was all down to, of course, once again, despite a draw from the previous game that England had against Russia, this was, of course, a must-win game for them to stay in the tournament, and Daniel Sturridge was responsible for a last-minute winning goal and also an amazing equaliser from Jamie Vardy, who's not playing once again now for England. He was actually put forward to play at the last World Cup, but unfortunately he just missed the short list of players in the last squad in the last World Cup. But honestly, that was the last time that I have actually seen England take on Wales. But it's also going to be very, very exciting because the turnout of fans of course, of Welsh fans in Qatar at the moment has been quite remarkable, and honestly, from when they played their first match earlier on a few weeks ago against the United States, their national anthem of Land of My Fathers, which we will be hearing at the start of tomorrow's game, they sing with absolute passion. They're just as passionate and patriotic as us England fans, and honestly, it's gonna be incredible to watch. And of course, with that also being said, I don't think there's anything else to say, but because also of the time, and I think it's almost coming up to midnight right now, according to my phone. So with that being said, thank you very much for everybody for watching this one-off late edition of course, my spin-off series of Football's Come Home for Christmas post-match. Once again, like I said, I'll be back here tomorrow covering the third and final group stage match in Group B for England in this year's FIFA World Cup, of course, Qatar 2022. And once again, it is all down. This is it. It's the last chance for England to try and secure qualification for this year's, of course, knockout round and the next round of this year's FIFA World Cup. And one more, of course, obstacle standing in our way, and that is against, of course, beating the Red Dragons of Wales. And I think also with the title of the next episode, which I've already planned, taking inspiration from that headline in the Daily Mail newspaper from a few days ago, I think the next episode will definitely, respectively, have a very appropriately title for the episode, and that will be St. George and the Dragons. And I'm really looking forward to, of course, covering this game tomorrow, and honestly, it is going to be very, very exciting indeed. Once again, I will be back here tomorrow, of course, a few hours earlier, hopefully, because it was last minute for me covering the United States game, but I didn't miss too much, of course, I just still managed to get there, of course, downstairs into my living room of my house here before the game. But honestly, it is very, very exciting, and I have a feeling there will be, of course, we won't be playing our best players because we are going to prepare them for the knockout round of 16 part of this tournament if we do get there, which I'm sure we will. I mean, we stand the odds, despite that draw that we had with the United States just a few days ago last week, of course, once again, Friday, we honestly stand a very, very good chance, but obviously this is kind of like when we played against Belgium in the last World Cup in the third group game. Despite winning our first two games, we had to tactically lose that game to have easier opponents in the next round, which was Colombia. Otherwise, we could have took on Brazil from if we did win in our group. But it's looking more likely, possibly, if we do win tomorrow, we could be facing the Netherlands. And they are the more stronger team than Ecuador. But honestly, it could go either way. As long as, once again, that we can have either get a win or a draw against Wales, that would be enough. We only need one single point to qualify from the group. And it would be nice if we can top the group, because, I mean, you know, the only way that I think if England has got any chance of winning this year's FIFA World Cup, they need to take on the bigger teams. And I know that their first challenge in the United States was totally one that took them by surprise, but honestly, this is a kind of like a warm-up game for England if they do manage to score many goals tomorrow, and with one of those famous, of course, song lyrics from the famous England football song of World in Motion by, of course, England New Order. One of the commentary lines said as a lyric in the song of "We want goals, we most certainly do want goals tomorrow," and let's hope that we have and put on a fantastic performance against Wales. And but also, once again, we shouldn't underestimate them, because they could surprise us. They may be the weakest team out of all the other three in our group, but we shouldn't underestimate them. And of course, once again, we'll be following that, of course, game all the way through, right from the kick-off, of course, to the referees blowing the whistle to start the match tomorrow. And once again, we will have live coverage from BBC Sport on BBC One from 6 o'clock, and also the kick-off for that game starts at 7. And once again, it will be at the Ahmad bin Ali Stadium in Al Rayyan. I think that's the part of Qatar where it's going to be. And once again, we will be covering that game all in full for you, and honestly, it's definitely going to be a must-watch. So with that being said, thanks very much for watching, and of course, I'm starting to get quite tired now. Honestly, if you've not noticed, I've got quite a few bags under my eyes. I haven't been sleeping that well quite recently because I still haven't been feeling 100%. But I am getting better, everybody, just to be sure, and I haven't got COVID. It's just been quite a challenge, of course, working on this series. I knew it was going to be a challenge when I first did this, I went into a very similar pattern when I did my first series of this, of football's coming home again, covering the Euros last year, and this has been not much different either. But with all that aside, of course, I have had so much fun doing this so far, and I hope that England can still go all the way, hopefully to the final, even though that, of course, we've still got one more Group B stage match to play, and hopefully, of course, getting to the business end of this tournament, if we can manage to beat Wales comfortably. This real business end of this tournament will start from the start of next month in December, and the lead up to Christmas as well, which of course is the main reason why I've called them a series, Football's Come Home for Christmas, and we can get really into the festive spirit of this tournament, and hopefully if England can go all the way, and it will be definitely a great early Christmas present we can all wish for. But once again, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, of course. Let's once again win, of course, our last group stage match tomorrow. Or for that being matter, of course, now today, since it's now just gone 5 minutes past 12 in the morning, the early morning, and I need to get some sleep, everybody. So with that being said, thanks very much for watching this late edition, of course, spin-off edition of Football's Come Home for Christmas post-match, covering once again and reviewing briefly the England against the United States game from earlier on last Friday, and also with the last England game against Wales starting from later on today. Of course, once again, for the date being this Tuesday, the 29th of November 2022, join me once again on the main series of Football's Come Home for Christmas, as we have the very exciting and long-awaited St. George and the Dragons episode, which will be episode 4 so far in the series, and let's hope that England can, the Three Lions, can definitely make up for the shock performance that they had against the United States. But like I said, we can look forward to a very exciting match that is definitely going to be a must-watch for all of you watching, and if you are, of course, also any Welsh football fans out there that are going to be watching, I hope you have a fantastic game, and also Poblock to you as well, as you would say in your country. All the best of luck to you and your country. I understand that you've also been huge supporters of all of the things that have been going on at the moment, changing and also raising awareness of the current political issues in Qatar, and we once again stand by you. We're 100% behind you as well, and we totally respect you as well. It's a shame that some particular football fans, of course, of your country, do take it a lot more seriously than it should be, and resorted to violence. And of course, that was totally unexpected to see from just a few days ago with some fans in Tenerife, a few days even before the game. But let's hope hopefully there will be no outbreaks of fights, hopefully, in Qatar. I mean, the policing so far and security for how people have been trying to get into the stadiums has been perfect, and has been doing pretty well and quite solid so far, and hopefully we'll see more of the same from later on today as well, with the other 3 games later on today as well. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy, of course, the episode you're about to see tomorrow. And once again, from me, Jack Wright, until next time, au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a few hours' time for the next and 4th episode of Football's Come Home for Christmas, and once again titled St. George and the Dragons. Will England's Three Lions manage to slay the Red Dragons of Wales later on today? You'll find out in the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a few hours' time. Bye-bye! We done? Oh my word. Well, this was totally out of the way, wasn't it? Or not just out of the way, but also this was totally unplanned. Honestly, I certainly was not expecting us to do a late edition version of this. But there's always a time for it, isn't there? But no, well done everybody. I know that I'm gonna try and get as much hours of sleep I can. Honestly, I'm just really excited. It's just you know what I'm like, and you know, for being an avid football fan of England, as I've always supported them since I was, you know, when I was little, about 11 or 12 years old, from what I remember now. Actually, following them in the first ever World Cup I briefly watched of, or actually 20 years ago. You know, in 2002, and I didn't even realise they actually went that far. They got to the quarterfinals. They then got beaten by Brazil, but they had a fantastic game against Denmark the match before with 3-0 in the knockout round. And yeah, I mean, but honestly, I only think England can definitely do well later on today. And I just hope, fingers crossed, come on Gareth, and all of those 26 players, you have still got a chance to try and get a vital point. All you need is another draw or a win. I still believe in you guys. Please don't let me down. And Phil Foden or any of the other players that haven't played yet, you go out there on that pitch later on today and get out there and score some goals, because you have worked hard to be in this squad, and I really want you to prove yourself on the world stage. I mean, Marcus Rashford, Jack Grealish, Bukayo Saka and Jude Bellingham have done that already, but there are loads of you that can still manage to make your mark on the world stage. And I hope that we could qualify for the knockout round of 16 in just a few hours' time later on today. Don't let us down, and don't let us down also, Gareth. I still believe in you, my friend. Let's hope we can bring football home once again and go to the business end of this tournament. Bring it on, and let battle commence in just a few hours' time against the Red Dragons of Wales. Pobla de Camamni